Welcome back to the crossover on this celebratory Sunday, the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to all those who are celebrating. I've got my Christmas sweater on. If you don't, happy holidays. Hope you're having a great Sunday. And did you know that back in 1814, the 24th of December was the day that the War of 1812 ended? The more you know. And what ended last night was the Bengals' hope of making the playoffs as they lost to the Steelers 34-11. George Pickens had himself a day, wearing two different color mouth guards, one red, one green, in the Christmas spirit, and boy did he deliver. 195 yards on 4 receptions and 2 touchdowns in a game that was never close. And from the jump, Mike Tomlin, defending the fact that he's never been under 500, sitting at 7-7, came out second play of the game, 2nd and 4 from the Steelers' 14-yard line. A quick little 11-yard route. Pickens catches it on the 23-yard line and takes it all the way to the house, avoiding 3 different tackles on the way for an 86-yard touchdown. And that was just the beginning, because George Pickens had himself a night. The Steelers' defensive front was absolutely insane, keeping Browning off of his spot. Now, the Bengals' offensive line has been a struggle all along. Probably the reason that Joe Burrow is even injured in the first place. They only got 3 sacks. However, they forced Browning into so much discomfort, so much mess that the Steelers defense created for Browning that he ended up throwing 3 interceptions. T. Higgins, by far the highlight, or the star for the Bengals last night. 140 yards on 5 receptions and getting their only touchdown of the night. They did end up going for 2, which is why they have 11 points and not 10. And man, Mason Rudolph, what a night for Mason Rudolph. He gets the start, and it's such a good story because Rudolph, coming into the league, he was supposed to be the replacement for Big Ben. He was supposed to be the guy after Big Ben retires. And now all these years later, he finds himself being the 3rd quarterback on that Steelers team. And last night, absolutely tears it up, has the whole crowd singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. The day before Jesus' birthday, after the game, he's giving it all up to God and thanking God for putting him in this position, for allowing him to play this game. Great story there. He's got 6 games with 2+ touchdowns. 6 games, 2+ touchdowns, and he's only had 11 starts. Kenny Pickett, on the other hand, he's only had 1 game where he threw for 2+ touchdowns, and he's got 24 starts. So we've got Steelers fans all over the place saying, hey, maybe Mason Rudolph is our guy. And I feel like this happens every year. Every year Mason Rudolph comes in, has a couple of good starts. They call for him to be the starter, but he never ends up being the starter. We'll see if this offseason they're going to have some sort of quarterback competition, or they're going to stick with Kenny Pickett, say this is the guy, we're going to stick with him. We'll see. A lot left to be seen there. In a season with not much to cheer about, I'm happy that the Steelers got this win. I'm happy that they got this story with Mason Rudolph. I'm happy that Mike Tomlin can keep his record of never being below 500. And then Jake Browning, we got to talk about Jake Browning on the other hand as well. 3-2 as a starter, obviously coming in for Joe Burrow. Wasn't expecting to play much this year, I'm assuming. Comes in, replaces Joe Burrow, goes 3-2. Both losses against the Steelers, so that's obviously a big deal, especially in a big rivalry like that. However, I don't think he's terrible. I honestly don't. I think he's earned a backup position at the very least. Maybe even a starting position here at some point. Probably not with the Bengals. Maybe he goes off to another team. But I'm happy for him. He's got 2 overtime wins over the Jags and the Vikings, and 1 win over the Colts. Now looking forward, the Steelers now have a 15% chance of making the playoffs. So again, not impossible, but not very likely neither. And the Bengals have a 12% chance. The Steelers, they've got the Seahawks and the Ravens. Are going to need to win both of those games and hope for some help. The Bengals, the Chiefs, and the Browns is who they have, and they're also going to need some help. I don't see either team making it to the playoffs, but nice story for the Steelers. I'm happy for the Steelers. That's the point of this. And then we're going to switch over to the other game, which this is a surprise game of the night, as the Bills beat the Chargers, and that's not the surprise. The surprise is that the game was 24-22 and came down to a late field goal to win the game. Nobody was expecting this between this game. Much closer than expected. But the problem with this game last night is you couldn't watch it. You literally couldn't watch it unless you signed up for Paramount Plus. Now, I don't like when the NFL does this. I feel like everybody on Twitter was complaining about it. A lot of different websites being used to watch this game, if you catch my drift. And the Chargers actually started out on top 10-0. Now you could say, was this part of the NFL script to get more people to sign up to Paramount Plus? Because I'll tell you, when I saw that the score was 10-0, I was like, man, I gotta watch this game. Are the Bills really about to lose this game? Are the Chargers really about to surprise them? Chargers obviously coming off the firing of head coach Brandon Staley. They wanted to come out hot. They wanted to prove that the problem was not the players, but rather the coaching. They come out hot, get all the way down into the red zone, but they're unable to convert, so they start off with a field goal. The Bills come out. They don't get in field goal range. They punt. Then the Chargers come out, punt as well, and on the punt is fielded successfully, but then on the return, there is a fumble, so the Chargers get the ball back in great field position, finally get it in for the touchdown, 10-0. And then the Bills come back from the 42-yard line. Josh Allen throws a bomb to Gabe Davis, which would later set up a touchdown for them. Gabe Davis also had a great day, 130 yards on 4 receptions. The Bills take the lead before the half, 14-10. And now I'm starting to think, all right, tough start for the Bills, but 14-10 going into half. They'll probably come out in the second half and they'll put some more on. However, early in the third quarter, Josh Allen underthrows Stefon Diggs and throws an interception for the second turnover of the game now from the Bills. Stefon Diggs, man, he walked in with a skirt. And as soon as I saw that, I said either he's going to go off or he's going to kind of ghost. And he goes only for 29 yards, which means that Stefon Diggs in the last 9 games has been under 100 yards. Obviously, not normal for him at all. Then LA comes back with a field goal, 14-13, keeping it close. Then another long ball to Gabe Davis, sets up another touchdown. Los Angeles comes back, 2 more field goals with 7:10 left in the fourth quarter, 21-19. James Cook fumbles the ball, making it the 3rd turnover on the night. Los Angeles goes down the field, unable to get into the end zone, but another field goal, 22-21. And this game is staying close. It's staying real close. The Chargers aren't scoring touchdowns, but they're getting field goals. They're getting stops. Obviously, the Chargers defense has been the highlight of their team all year, especially after Herbert's been out. And then on a 3rd and 8 with 22 minutes left, the guy who's been ghosting Stefon Diggs, Mr. Reliable, Josh Allen throws it to him. They keep the drive alive. They could have gone for the field goal right there, but then they would have given the Chargers a lot of time. Keeps it alive. Buffalo ends up getting the field goal. Now they're up by 2 points. And here come the big bad Chargers, but on 1st and 10, Stick takes a sack. You can never take a sack there in that position. And on the final play, they had a chance. The Chargers had a very good chance on one side of the field. All of the offensive linemen were blocking. I forget who the guy was. I think it was their punt return. I think maybe a punt returner, maybe a tight end had the ball. Had it just gone down that sideline, there were so many blockers that the Chargers could actually have won the game. However, they do the lateral back to the other side. The ball ends up dying out. There's a forward pass. That was the end of the game. So the Chargers, more first downs than the Bills. More time of possession, fewer penalties, no turnovers, and 3 forced turnovers. You look at those stats right there, you're saying that they had to have won that game, right? Well, the Chargers find a way to lose again, and instead of finding ways to win the game, it just feels like the Chargers all season have been finding ways to lose them. And now we have to talk about something else that was a little bit different last night. We got a commercial-free fourth quarter, and I enjoyed watching that fourth quarter so much more with no commercials. They're doing whole Sports Center segments talking about different games and talking about this and talking about that, and it put a lot more pressure on the announcers. But it reminds me of soccer, man. You watch a soccer game, yeah, you get the commercials at halftime, but other than that, the 45 minutes, obviously there's 45 minutes straight, so you get no commercials there. But I enjoyed it so much more with no commercials, and it kind of made me realize how long the commercials really are. Because like I said, they're doing whole ass Sports Center segments in between the plays, or in between a 4th down and then a 1st down, between the time that the players are coming onto the field. It just made me realize how many more commercials that we do end up watching and how long these commercials are. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm sure it was a lot for the announcers at the end of the game. They were saying, man, we need a commercial break just to take a break here, because they're also not used to all of that. They're used to having their setup time in between and whatsoever. But I really, really enjoyed that. And now let's look forward to the Bills. The Bills now have a 74% chance of making the playoffs. They've got the Pats and the Dolphins left. Now, if the Bills beat the Pats and the Dolphins lose to the Cowboys, the Bills are still in it to win this division. I mean, they have the Cowboys after. Dolphins have the Cowboys tonight. So we'll see what happens there. But the Bills still even in contention to win out their division. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But do I think that they will end up beating the Pats? Yes, and that would get them into the playoffs. So the Bills probably going into the playoffs. And now let's talk about NBA. Let's cross over into the NBA as the Pistons last night confirmed that they're historically bad. The Pistons lost their 26th game in a row last night against the Nets and tied the longest streak ever in the NBA for losses. Their last win came October 28th against the Bulls. That just blows my mind. Cade Cunningham came out, I think it was a couple days ago, and said, man, I know that we're bad, but we're not 2-26 bad. They do have some talent on that roster. They do have pieces on that roster. On paper, they are not this bad, but I just don't know what is going on in Detroit. But they have tied the league record for losses in a row. And now, after Christmas, I think it's either the 26th or the day after, or the 27th, 2 days after Christmas, they have the Nets again, who they just lost to. So let's see, are they going to put themselves in the record book as the worst team ever in the NBA? And now let's switch over to LeBron, where LeBron was also making history as he went for 40 points last night against the Thunder in a 129-120 win. He was 5 for 5 from the three-point line, and this comes just 7 days before his 40th birthday. Now, I have a proposed question. This is my question of the day. The Pistons are looking like they're going to have the first pick in the in this year's draft. And now LeBron has said that wherever Bronny goes, he's trying to go. And LeBron, MJ, it's been a long debate. MJ, when he joined the Wizards, were the worst team in the NBA. Could LeBron go onto this Detroit team and win the NBA championship? Now, I know that Bronny's probably not going to be going first overall, so the Pistons probably wouldn't even take him. But in a hypothetical world, let's say that the Pistons take Bronny. Let's say that LeBron comes over. LeBron, you want to prove that you're better than Jordan. You want to put the debate to an end. You got to go to Detroit, who are historically bad, and win a championship with them. I feel like that would be super cool to see. However, the Pistons probably aren't going to take Bronny. LeBron would probably never go to Detroit. But do you guys think that LeBron could save this Pistons team? Let's talk about Luka now. 39 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists versus the Spurs last night. That's not even the biggest story coming out of that game, as Victor Wembanyama hurt his ankle even before the game. During the layup lines, there was a Dallas Mavericks ball boy that was standing under the hoop. Wembanyama goes up, makes his layup, and then on the way down, he lands on the Dallas Mavericks ball boy's foot. He gets injured. He doesn't play the game. I don't know the severity of that ankle injury. However, the ball boy, you got to move out of the way. I mean, Victor Wembanyama is coming through. You don't got to be standing right under the hoop. He himself came out and said, I don't know why they have to stand that close. But let's hope that Victor Wembanyama is okay. Now, crossing over into soccer or football for my boys. Chelsea lose at Wolves and are now 10th in the Premier League at Christmas with only 6 wins, 4 ties, and 8 losses. Now, just like Manchester United, I spoke a lot about them in yesterday's video. They just have a lack of scoring. It feels like strikers are coming at a premium right now, and it feels like nobody is really being able to put the ball in the back of the net, both for Chelsea and for Manchester United. They were without Enzo tonight. Now, I don't know what that means. Does he have that hernia that most people were saying, or was he just sick last game? I don't know. We'll have to see. Sterling with a golden opportunity to just pass the ball across the box. Nico Jackson was there. There was another player there. He's one-on-one with Jose Sa, decides to take the shot. Sa blocks it, and it feels like that was kind of the turning point. Wolves started getting some more momentum. They end up not scoring before the half, but they do score in the second half. Nico Jackson was tripping over himself one-on-one with the goalie. It just looked bad altogether. They concede their first goal in the 51st minute off of a perfect corner. Lamina with a great header. But Petrovic, to me, just takes an extremely bad angle on the corner. I've been praising Petrovic. I've been saying ever since he was in the MLS that he was a great goalie when I saw him live. went over to Chelsea, and I was saying that he should be Chelsea's #1 goalkeeper. However, I do think this was a little bit of a bad beat for him. However, it was a perfect header, so you can't blame him too much for it. They can see the second in the 92nd minute by Doherty, who had just been subbed on. And the way that the goal comes is off of a bad deflection off of Badiashile that pops up to Doherty, and Doherty puts it into the back of the net. Badiashile was also responsible for that Callum Wilson goal that we talked about against Newcastle. And Badiashile is being linked to Monaco. I almost said Tottenham. To Monaco right now for $35 million. It seems like his Chelsea career could be getting cut short. He could be gone as soon as January. I don't know why Monaco is giving $35 million for Badiashile. He doesn't seem like that good of a defender to me. Chelsea other defenders also have been struggling. Diassi didn't look good today. Thiago Silva didn't look good today. Thiago Silva didn't look good last game either. So Chelsea, with all the money that they've been spending, with all the players they've been getting, they still got a lot. I feel like their midfield is solid. I feel like they got a couple of good offensive weapons. Nkunku came in today, scored their only goal, so he gets his first Chelsea goal. That was good to see. But this is the 4th away game in a row that Chelsea have lost. Looking forward now, Chelsea have got Palace, Luton away, and then they've got the FA Cup with Preston, the Carabao Cup with Middlesbrough. Then they've got Fulham at home. Then they've got Middlesbrough again. So they have a couple of games here where they can call them get-right games. A couple of games that they're expected to win, hoping to win. Maybe they go away to Luton, finally break the curse and win an away game. We're all hoping. And then they've got Liverpool. So Chelsea, they've got some time here to figure their stuff out, but they got to figure it out quick. Got the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, their best chances of winning a trophy this season. Carabao Cup, by far, their best chance of winning a trophy. They could be playing Liverpool back-to-back. Carabao Cup, and then the league. So a lot left to be seen there. And that's all the sports news that we got. I'm going to leave you guys with the slate of the day, as we've got a massive day in the NFL. Obviously, it's Sunday. We're going to have a couple more games tomorrow as well for Christmas Day, so I'll talk about those in tomorrow's video. But today, we've got the Commanders at the Jets. Battle of the mids. I'm going to take the Jets in this one just because they're at home, and I feel like they're better than the Commanders. This is a pick-me game. They're both trash. I'll say the Jets. Then we've got the Lions at the Vikings in a game with a lot of playoff implications on the line. I think that DCMC is a little bit too much. Motor City Dan Campbell is a little bit too much. I think that the Lions are going to come out on top in this one. We've got the Browns at the Texans. Joe Flacco's been slinging that ball recently. The Texans' defense is extremely good. However, they are going to be playing with Case Keenum tonight, as CJ Stroud is projected to start next week. I want the Texans to win. I want the Texans to do well. I feel like it's a great story. I want to see the Texans in the playoffs. However, I think the Browns are going to take this one. We've got the Packers at the Panthers. We're going to see what the turnout for the Panthers is. We saw, obviously, last game how empty that stadium was. Are they finally going to fill up the house after beating the Falcons last week? I think that the Packers are still going to come out on top in this one. Obviously, still in the hunt for the playoffs there, so extremely important game for them. We've got Seattle at the Titans. I'm going to take Seattle in this one. I think coming off of that Eagles win, I think the boys are going to be fired up. I think Pete Carroll's going to have them playing, so I'm going to go with Seattle. We've got the Colts at the Falcons, and I think the Falcons need a big bounce back after losing to the Panthers last week, and I think that they'll get it against the Colts. So I'm going to take Falcons over the Colts there. We've got the Jags at the Bucks, the Battle of Florida. I think it's going to be a really, really good game. Trevor Lawrence is back. Baker Mayfield has been playing out of his mind. I love Baker Mayfield ever since he was in college. I've always loved Baker Mayfield. However, being that Trevor Lawrence is back, being that the Jags are trying to cement themselves in the playoffs, I'm going to take the Jags in this one. Then we've got the Cowboys at the Dolphins, probably the best game of the day. The Cowboys can't win a game when they're not at home. The Dolphins can't win a game when it's against a team with a winning record. So one of these streaks is going to come to an end here, and I'm going to take the Dolphins. I'm going to say that the Dolphins come out and get the work done. Cardinals at the Bears. Again, another battle of the mids. However, I think the Bears are better than the Cardinals. The Cardinals are worse than the Bears, so I'm going to take the Bears. And then tonight, we've got a massive, massive treat for Sunday Night Football. The Pats at the Broncos, baby. What a game to end off your night. What a way to end off your Christmas Eve. I'm sure that everybody's going to be watching that game. I'm going to take the Broncos. And that's all that we've got for today. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, I love each and every single one of you guys. Let's watch some NFL tonight, but let's spend some time with our families as well during this holiday season. Think about what we're grateful for. time of giving. Just shoot somebody that you haven't texted in a while. Just text them, say, hey, Merry Christmas, hope you're doing well. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I will catch you guys tomorrow. I'm gonna post a video. We're posting every day through 2024. We are on the grind. If you could please, all I want for Christmas is for you to hit the sub button, hit the like button, comment something nice. Let's get in the algorithm. I've got all my links also down below. TikTok, Instagram, whatever it may be. You guys have a great one. Merry Christmas to everybody celebrating. We will be back tomorrow. This has been The Cross.